Okay, now that you have made the final decision to homeschool high school, you begin to think about curriculum. And with so many different choices, so many different ways to homeschool high school, I thought I would share some important thoughts to consider before even choosing curriculum. Welcome to Learning with Boys. My name is Rachel, and today I want to talk about homeschooling high school and choosing that curriculum. Now, I have graduated 3, and my last one is in 8th grade, so I am at that stage where I am thinking about this. I just finished a book written by Carrie DeFrancisco called Homeschool High School, a Handbook for Christian Education. And I've read a lot of high school homeschool books, but I have not read hers. Now, I actually listened to it on Audible, so let me make that clear, but I will post a little picture of it right here. She was really encouraging. A lot of what she said at the beginning was probably things that I have shared with you, just talking about requirements and important things to consider when homeschooling high school. But the second half of the book was really encouraging to me, was just talking about curriculum and just the different ways you can homeschool high school. So that was really encouraging because as my 4th one is coming into high school, he is just so different than the other 3. So my mind is really a little bit more open than it was, especially with my first one. So I wanted to share with you my thought process, also some things that I've learned over these years of homeschooling high school and choosing the curriculum. I know for us, just having some family goals, I know that we talk about that, homeschooling in general, but especially in high school, these are our last final 4 years, which I will tell you from experience fly by. So pick and choose carefully because sometimes we can overload on what we want our student to inhale through those high school years. And it doesn't all get done because they have interest and desires and things that end up taking up time also. And that can all be good things. Have some things that you definitely feel are important and maybe have some that you feel like if we can get this in, we'd like to. So I know for me, having this last one coming into high school and I'm going to be thinking about curriculum, really thinking about definitely want a Christian worldview, biblical worldview. We're going to have some form of Bible. Math is a struggle. We're moving forward with that. Definitely thinking about science. He is definitely a hands-on person and thinking about the way your child learns. I've had so many different learners. I've had some that were auditory, like they had to hear it and watch it. And then I've had some that I had one that was very similar to this one that probably could learn a lot just by reading. I had one that I feel like he was probably just going to learn what he was really interested in. So we did the subjects probably more basic than most. So considering the way your child learns is really, really important in choosing curriculum also because you don't want to waste time and you don't want to waste money. For us, definitely the biblical worldview would be very important in the end. And also a couple things that I look back and feel like are important as they are adults or becoming adults would be just reading and writing, just communication. I can't say that we are the best at that, but I do feel like looking back, that is something that I'm really going to be thinking about and considering with this one, who, again, I don't know if I mentioned, but is so different from the other 3. So those things come a little bit more natural to him than my older 3. So it was a little bit more of a work for my other 3 in those areas, but they are very important. Some other things to consider is what the child feels is important and what their end goal is. Is their end goal college? Is academics really important to them? Are they hoping to get some scholarships? And even if not, I really encourage you to possibly leave the door open. Now you're going to know how far to take that with what's required and what subjects. But I think if they can have good reading skills, good communication skills, writing, and just being able to communicate, that would be very helpful if they think they're not going to go to college, but maybe they might decide to, or maybe they go into business for themselves. Those will be all good skills to have. Something else to consider that she mentioned in the book was there are so many job openings now that were not even in existence when I was in high school or even a young adult. So that might be something. There might be more jobs that come about that don't exist at this moment in a few years. So that's why I'm just encouraging you to always keep the door open in case they do want to go to school, or maybe they want to get certified in something that maybe doesn't exist now. When you're choosing curriculum, I know for me, um, outsourcing subjects that were really, really hard or not my cup of tea was my options. That was for science. My oldest did co-op. He did biology and advanced biology at a co-op. My second son did biology at a co-op, because those were not the subjects that I felt confident in teaching. Now, also, they both did some writing classes with IEW. So those were subjects that they really did not have confidence in, but I knew they had capability. And it wasn't a subject that I was comfortable at all in teaching. Now, once I got more familiar with IEW, I am a little bit more confident in it. And we have been using it for years and will continue to use that for our writing and communication curriculum. But I know for math and science, those might be something that you might have to outsource. I do want to mention with co-ops to really, as a family, to ask the Lord for discernment and choosing and entering a co-op. You want to make sure they have the same biblical worldview that you have. I know with the first one that we went to take the science classes, I took all my boys with me. We really, really prayed about it. I prayed with them about it. And we really just had peace when we went and visited and met everybody. So now my second didn't really want, he actually went to some younger classes at that particular co-op, but as he got in high school, he just made it clear that he preferred not to do any type of co-op classes. Now, he wasn't against anything online. He just wanted to be at home. And now that I am coming up on my fourth, I feel like we will continue to stay home just because I feel a little bit more confident in those subjects. So, and again, he is a different learner. We're definitely looking into curriculum and trying to think outside the box. For one thing, for science, a lot of it's all textbooky and learning the terms, memorizing, but sometimes I feel like we miss the whole picture because they're so focused on the test. So this school year, he's only in 8th grade, but we are trying something that's more a unit study. And I think he has enjoyed it more. Like he has really, we've dove in deep. He is seeing the whole picture. He's relating it to other things. It's really been good. Now, will I continue that in high school? I'm really not sure yet. But I'm glad that we are doing it this school year so I can get a better idea, a better feel if this will be a fit for him. Now, again, listening to that book from Carrie, she, I think, was more of a Charlotte Mason style in her approach to homeschooling high school, but she does give many other options. She mentions many other families that she knew personally that did homeschooling different ways. So that was encouraging also. I think every family, and I think it depends on the season you're into. Like when I had my oldest, I had younger children. Now that I'm on my last, it's a little bit more, I have a little bit more flexibility in what we do, where we go, and how we do things. So consider that too, because again, I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you don't want to overload so much that you can't get it all done. If you're like me, in my early years, I was very interested in trying to find the right curriculum, and I probably overloaded on different curriculum until I really narrowed down things. You don't have a whole lot of time to do that in high school. So just really pray about it. Know what how your child learns. Let them review. If it's videos you're trying, give them some options. With my third one here, I gave him several different options on science, made him look at things. He sat down with me. We discussed different ways that he could be doing it. And he helped me make the final decision. And that helped. I think it helps too, because they have made the commitment. This is what I'm choosing. So this is what I've got to do, especially with teenagers. And if you're choosing it, they don't feel as committed to it. So sort of like, if you give them the car, it doesn't mean as much to them as if they purchased it themselves. So maybe not to that extreme, but it does work that way a little bit with curriculum. So let them help you choose and consider the way that they learn when you give them options. I do want to mention, with high school, some other subjects that might be hard is math. And for my oldest, math was his thing. He enjoyed it. So he actually went through math without any problem and he stayed with the same curriculum. Now I had to switch up trying to help my other two through that. And I'm realizing now that you do need to know your state requirements, but sometimes there's some flexibility on that. Like you might think, well, everybody's doing algebra in ninth grade and some are doing it in eighth grade. But really, you can do pre-algebra in ninth grade and then algebra and geometry. But you need to make sure that, depending on what state you're in, if that would be allowed. I know some states have a college-bound requirements and then they just have your regular graduation requirements. So that might be something you might want to really deep dive into. And I know HSLDA is somewhere that could definitely help you if you call them. They have someone that represents, I think, every state, because when I called, they transfer me over to someone that will deal with my state. So that's very helpful. So when you're choosing, just as I would say, if you're choosing other curriculum, same with high school, you can step outside of the box a little bit. You can be creative. You can use unit studies. You can use living books. I know for us, even with government and economics, we will probably use a lot of just living books instead of a specific curriculum. But I know there are some kids who thrive with a textbook. So keep that into consideration. You know your child better than anybody. All right, I do appreciate you all watching this video. You can give me a like, give me a thumbs up. That would encourage me and help my channel. And I am looking forward to sharing more high school videos with you as I take you along. I am going to have to make some decisions here this school year for my son next school year. And I'm going to probably go through the process of his requirements and how I'm going to be looking at that, because I do usually look at it from the end, like the end down to ninth grade. I do like to see what the end will look like. I think all of my boys took some form of dual credits, and I'm pretty sure he will, because he's already interested in that. But I usually wait at least until 11th grade, and some of mine just did them their senior year. I'm not in any rush at all, but that is something to be considering also as you look into homeschooling high school curriculum, because it is a 4-year plan, and that is what I will share with you. All right, I do appreciate you all watching. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again soon.